Welcome to the channel, folks. Clunkers and Classics, where we are back on the 67 Camaro. We're done with the 76. Got a subscriber interested in buying it, just waiting on a deposit, and he's going to fly in and pick it up. Tentatively, but he seems awful serious. So, yeah, we're done with that. Okay. So, we're going to do the mini tubs. Now, basically a mini tub is the inner wheel well that is wider than the factory one by 2-3 inches. You see the wheel well here? From there to there is the inner, and from here to here is the outer. And as you can see, it's all dented up here, and it's all rusty where the quarter panel welds to it. So what the mini tub inner one does is you cut this frame rail, the top of it off. See, here's where the original shock went to. See, that's all going to be cut off. It's going to be cut off right in here, and then the wheel well will weld to the frame. That's the concept anyway. See, the frame is over here somewhere, so we'd be cutting all that off and moving this wheel well in. Okay, now a couple of problems is this brace for the rear hinge is welded to it, and then the rear seat panel is welded to it as well. Okay, we're replacing the quarter panels and all that anyway. We've got the trunk floor done. We've got the rear reinforcement in there. We got the floor extensions on there. So what we need is we need them wheel wells in there, and then we can put the quarter panels and the big rear panel, line them up and weld them on there. So here's the quarter panel here. This is called an 80% quarter panel. It overlaps a couple inches right here. So what we want to do, and it doesn't have the full jam, just got the lip right there, which this jam here is good. Just got that lip right there. Okay, instead of the whole jam, because this was only like 250 bucks. You want the full jam and the full sail panel, it's like 700. So that's why we're going this way, save almost 500 bucks. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to get as much area cut off here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use my cutting wheel grinder right here. I'm going to put a cutting wheel on that, and just for now we're going to just cut it just below, I think just below this body line here for now. Once we get it all ready to put the quarter panel on, we'll trim it some more. You can see it goes down here, so we'll just cut her about an inch below, and we'll cut it off here just to get this out of the way so we can get more at this the wheel well area. Okay, I can't remember it hasn't been lately, that's for sure, that I've done a job like this. I'm thinking I might have done one back in the day on a full frame car like a Chevelle. As I know my 67 Chevelle had one done to it, but I didn't do it. A friend I worked with did it, and I bought the car off of him. So it's going to be different. Now, I just watched 3, maybe 4 videos of I just typed in mini tub 67 Camaro, and what a mess. But they all seem to be Detroit Speed. That's the name of the company that makes them. They supplied the wheel well and then a whole bunch of instructions. And what a mess these guys had doing it. The instructions weren't worth a shit. Of course, they didn't really say that. They're kind of trying to promote the company, I guess. But you have to cut I don't even know where they did it. Up in here, they had to cut a big section out of the frame and indent it in like 1 inch or something and re-weld it. Then they had to do all these little, you got to cut part of it off and bend it down for a tab. But then they ended up cutting, I don't know where it was it down here? They were cutting and nothing would fit. I mean, they had the thing on and off 20 times trying to make the damn thing fit, and it wouldn't fit. All the videos, and well, except for one that went really fast. So one guy ended up notching the wheel well here, like cutting a big pie-shaped thing out of it to make it fit. It was around a curve. I don't know if it was down there or up here. It was around where it curved. So I'm not going to notch the frame or cut the frame. I'm just not going to do it. So this may be kind of a hack butcher looking thing. See, the wheel well, it could be patched, but I want to replace it anyway. So I thought, well, if I'm going to replace it anyway, I might as well get the mini tub and make it wider. See, so you can fit, you know, a lot wider tire in there. But I was under the assumption that, yeah, you can just cut this out, and then the new wheel well would just be flush against this frame, and you just, you know, put some holes in it and weld it to this frame. I'm not going to go through all the notching and cutting and all that shit. So we got to butcher anything up. It's going to be, okay, this isn't the Detroit Speed kit, nor did it come with any instructions and all that. And like I said, the instructions were useless to most of the time anyway on them videos, because you had to do so much cutting. Okay, this is the outer one here. Now this should be the exact same size as, so we can get a better view with the quarter panel off. This should be the exact same size as the factory. So this one should line up perfect. And then this one is the one that's wider. So he was doing relief cuts in here and stuff, and so if anything, we got to hack this up to make it fit, beat it around, whatever it takes to make this fit flush against the frame. Because like I said, I'm not gonna butcher up the frame and do all that. Okay, so I believe you can line this up by, well, I guess it would be right in here. You line it up right up in there, from there over to here. Of course, you can't line this up because you got to cut that completely off. So yeah, we need a guide point on where this stays the same. Okay, We need a guide point where that stays the same, because you can't have it out too far or in too far, because then the quarter panel ain't gonna fit. This wheel well here goes underneath this lip, so it's got to be perfect. Can't have it in or out. So that's why you got to try to line this up as best. Perfect. You got to line it up perfect. Okay, but we'll get a better look at it. Let me go ahead and trim this off, and then I'll come back and we'll figure out exactly where to cut that off. Okay. Okay, well, I'll be back. Okay, guys, I got that quarter panel cut off. You got to watch out for. Ended up cutting it a little bit there, but yeah, this, oh, and almost through there. There's a brace there, a brace there, and we got all this stuff that collects. Even though this quarter panel wasn't rusted that bad down there, but this is usually where they, if you're from up north, that's where they all rot out. But yeah, that needs, that lip there needs to go underneath there. But usually you would just weld it, butt it up to this edge, but we'll see. See, the wheel well isn't that bad. I mean, it's just dented right there, a little bit rusty. Okay, so this is the guide I was talking about. See, it's going to weld the outer lip will go behind this. See, and right up to here, and then this brace here will weld to it. It goes up to the roof. We'll see where it's welded to. Can't see very good, but it looks like there's a tab right there. Looks like there's a tab right there that it's welded to underneath here. So yeah, this outer would weld to the inside of that, and then the inside one will weld to it. See, basically these two are welded together. Let's see if they even line up. Yeah. Well, no, it's not lining up, is it? Lines up there. A little bit there, but not there. This one here's not going to line up. Okay, so well, that's what we'll do first. We'll cut this inner out. But we're not going to sit there and drill all the spot welds out. Okay, you can see here the rocker. You can see it's welded to the little tab there. Probably a tab down here. What we're going to do is cut this out right along there. We're going to leave all these spot welds in it. I think that might be the best, is just to cut this inner one out first. Same with this here. See this? See, that tab's on this side, and that tab's on the bottom. So is that one. So we're just going to cut around that for now. We're going to cut around here, cut there. Use a chisel if I have to. I got an air chisel. Cut around there, and then I think we'll just cut around there for now and get this outer one off, and then we'll go for the inner. That way we can see if we can set that up in there. We want to set it up in there and see where the frame goes around there. Okay, I'll be back. Okay guys, these holes did line up. Just had to pry this one over. So that hole right there is this one here. You can see the inner one has a lip on it, and the inner one goes in, although it's a little bit screwy right in there, and that's okay. We'll make it fit. Yeah, see, the other reason I wanted to do that, although this side of the floor is not that bad, you can see this side here, a big chunk of it's all rotted out. Same with the wheel well. That's why you're going to replace it. Of course, this wheel well is pretty fried. It wasn't necessarily to fit the widest tires I can on here. That's not the point. Point was it got to be replaced anyway, and the floor needs to be patched or replaced, so we might as well just trim it so we can fit it on there. Okay, so let me go ahead and cut all this. I'm thinking, you can see a little hole down there. That's this hole here, so that's kind of a guide putting it on. Or well, yeah, there's one there too. Is there one here? Oh, okay. This one, that's that one there. Then this one's on the inner, but the inner one there don't have it. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is just cut it right across here, and then we'll probably overlap the new one on, line it up with that hole and weld it, that type of thing. This one's we already cut all that off. See, this lip here welds to that, to the outer one in here somewhere. See, and then there's that hole. Okay. Anyway, let me do what I said I was going to do. Just cut this outer one off for now. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, guys, we cut the outer wheel well out. Just buzzed it right along there, just so we can get a better look. Okay, so this is this one here, and it looks pretty close, but we don't know for sure. Right, yeah, probably in there. Yeah, you know, they're all made in Taiwan parts, so you know what most people say about aftermarket parts, they don't fit worth a damn, especially on these Camaros here. You can see people fighting with them quarter panels, and see that's what you'll run into when you get a full quarter panel that has all the jam and all that. That's what makes it really hard to line up. If you just do a skin like this, an 80%er, pretty easy to line up. But that's when it gets into all this and the jam and all that, that's the dimensions are off. So we don't know. The dimensions could be off a little bit on these wheel wells. We don't know for sure. But what we want to be sure about is that wheel well lines up perfectly to this quarter panel, so we can weld it in there. So whatever it takes to make that perfect. Okay, so you can see how skinny how skinny this is here compared to the... See, these mini tubs don't come as a pair. They only come like this. You only get this one, and you got to buy that separate. So they're not like a pair that are different. This outside one is going to be the same, but this one is going to be. See, you can already see down here. See the distance here compared to there. See, you got to go way in. And how far in, I'm not sure. That's what we're gonna have to kind of measure. So we gotta probably cut out all this stuff here. But like I said, well, yeah, we want it. We want it to hopefully just weld to this frame, but we don't know how it's going to line up. Got all this undercoating shit on here still. Can't really see that great. But yeah, I guess what we'll do is we'll cut out the this. This is going to weld. Just cut it out the same way we did there. We'll just cut the edge off all the way around here. And then, yeah, there's a tab underneath here from the floor that it's welded to. So if we cut around this edge here, we can take that off. Then we can get a better look. And we'll have to do some measuring and see how far that goes in. I mean, it should go all the way to the frame, but I'm not sure. See, this is like part of the floor under here. I'm not sure exactly where that ends. I would assume it should end right here and go this way. But anyway, let me just cut this area out, and then we're gonna have to cut around. See, we can't see the spot welds underneath here, the undercoating. Have to get on this side here, and we'll just cut around. Let's see, we got a tab up front, up top, bottom, and this whole side here. So we're gonna cut around that just to get it off. Okay, I'll be back. Okay guys, before I cut that out, I'm gonna take off these rear door panels here. Now this is the deluxe interior, and I believe the standard interior is just flat. See how this comes out, and this comes out. I think the standard interior is just flat. This is part of the car, and then the panel. So it may go back with standard interior, because I think in the standard just straight little things are going to be way cheaper than all this extra stuff. I'm not sure about the rear seat, whether the rear seat for a standard interior would be wider. I'm not sure. I haven't checked on any of that. And this one's all rotted there. Probably this one is underneath there too. But anyway, we just need to pop off the window winder and take off a bunch of screws. Then this windlace molding. Yeah, it's going to need a lot of interior stuff. Needs all these sail panels up here. This roof is all rusty. I have to coat that with 415. But anyway, let me take all this stuff, because we got to cut right in here eventually. We need to cut, I'm not exactly sure where, but then we got to cut out this back thing here too. So yeah, let me take out all this stuff, probably the other side too. Eventually we'll have to take off these door panels too. We got to take them off so we can get the damn handles off, because they don't work. Hopefully it's just, yeah, I bought new handles. It's not hitting. So yeah, eventually we'll have to take off all these front door panels too. See, they're all warped and cracked and everything. I think it'd probably be best just to put the standard stuff on there. So I know it's going to be cheaper. Oh, I'll check on the prices. I know this stuff's available, but like I said, it caught on fire. Oh, I was wondering why this is all melted. I was like, that can't be from the sun. And then found out the back seat was all burnt. So yeah, all that's not really rust, it's from catching on fire. But anyway, for now, let me take out this back stuff. I'll be back. Okay, guys, I got that rear piece off. Yeah, there's something busted right here on this window, but oh well. Okay, so you can see how wide that is there compared to that. There's the shock mount, so I'm pretty sure it's going to come all the way over to like here. See, I think we got it cut out. Yeah, we'll cut out this area and then weld in what we need. Didn't realize all this was rusted. Probably gonna have to build a little plate across there, give it some more strength, make it look a little bit better. But yeah, anyway, let me get the wheel well itself out, because we got to fit this one in there to figure out how far it goes over to here. But we ain't got no instructions or anything, and we don't know if that's, the ones in the video were Detroit speed, and these are just, it doesn't even say what it is, just made in Taiwan something or other. I think the auction said it was one of them aftermarket brands. So we don't know if the Detroit speed one's the exact dimensions as this or not anyway, even if I did get instructions. We're just gonna have to wing it and just kind of measure, see where we need to cut. This way and that way. But yeah, but anyway, just let me get this out of here now, so we didn't cut through any of that stuff, even though we're not reusing any of it. We'll just cut all this out and go from there. Okay, I'll be back. Okay guys, I figured I'd show you taking out all this undercoating seam sealer stuff. It's all in here, so I just use this screwdriver, just kind of like that. We'll probably do all this too. I mean, rust coat it and then seam seal it all. But anyway, that's the wheel well there. So for now, we're just going to cut it out like there, and then like I said, we'll start measuring, see where we need to do it. But yeah, and then we'll cut right in here, and cut there, get this out of the way. I said hopefully it won't go over top of that, but for now we can just cut that off there. Okay, I'll be back. Okay guys, next day. We got started late in the day. It's 92 degrees out and sunny. It was overcast there all morning, and I thought, well, it's going to be a good day, nice and overcast. But well, just when I want to come out and work, the sun comes out. Okay, so I got the inner wheel well out. That's this here. I cut, that is this piece here for the rear seat, whatever you want to call it. So I just cut that off. We'll have to take that off and rework it, re-weld it on the new one. And then this is the Now this piece here, all this is the two wheel wells overlap or welded onto each other. That went from there to there, so I just cut that off. We don't need that, but we need to weld them to this brace all the way down to here. And this is our guide. When we put on the inner one, that's going to be our guide from here, how far in. So that's it. You can tell the difference. See how much wider this one is compared to this one. So I guess the best bet is just to measure. I mean, I would assume it goes all the way to here. I haven't measured anything yet, and we'll just see. We'll just measure it around from the edge here all the way in. And yeah, that is a pretty heavy duty brace there for that, the old shock, factory shock. Yeah, we'll just measure in through here. So that's what I'll do. I'll just start measuring, kind of marking on here where we need to, marking on there where we need to cut off and all that. So I'll be back. Okay guys, like I said, the ones on the videos I watched were from Detroit Speed. This from the auction listing. This is actually from Speedway. It is Dynacorn from Speedway, and it says intended to fit wheels 6" wider than stock and requires modification to rear trunk pan. That's all it said in the auction. No instructions or anything, like I mentioned. Okay, so it's kind of hard to get measurements from here, but I'm using a stick and a tape measure. So I measured from here. Just use a stick like that and just measure from here to here, and that's 7.5 inches. And then up here it goes to about 6 inches. Over to here it's 7 inches. And at the very bottom it's 6 3/4 from here to here. Now from what I can tell here, I kind of lay this stick up like that and measure from here to the frame. All this is going to be 1 inch too long. So whether it's supposed to go an inch longer into the, supposed to cut an inch out of the frame, I doubt it, but we're not going to do all that. And this frame's got a lip on it right here, and it's not straight. It's, you know, way in here and then comes way out this way, so it's more like this. See, so of course this is like that too. It's more wider at the back and comes skinnier up here, but I'm not sure. And this is going to be 6 3/4 at the very bottom. See, if you go all the way to the frame, that's like 10 inches. We need like 6 3/4. So really, it's going to be in here somewhere, is where this is going to mount to. So it looks like we'd have to cut it down here and put a tab for it to weld to. Okay, then when it comes up to here, it's supposed to be 7 inches at the top here, and that's too long. See, if we get this, I don't think I'll be able to do it with one hand, but we put this all the way to the frame there. That's going to be about, I think it comes out to about 6 inches. So it's going to be about an inch too long. So worst case scenario is we're gonna have to cut this off here and then move it in an inch or so and weld it up. That's the only thing I can think of to do. But for now, what we're gonna do is cut this. I don't know, I guess we don't need that little lip. See, it's got a little lip up here too. I guess what we can do is just cut that flush. So I'd rather have it mount flush to the frame, and we just weld it to the frame. But you know, drill some holes in here and spot weld it in. Of course, not down here. Down here is going to be over here somewhere. But you know, from here, you can weld it to the frame instead of building little tabs and stuff for it. So I think that's what I'll start off. I'll start off with cutting this off here, the shock tower thing there. We'll cut that, we'll cut it along there, and cut along this deal here. And this will have to be, you can see how this is straight right here. So this is actually gonna be all cut out here. And well, it'll go back here a little bit, come back like that. So we're gonna have to figure that out. I'll see if I can get a little drawing of that. But yeah, it'll, you know, it'd be back here, wouldn't it? Yeah. Okay, well, I'm just gonna have to cut some areas, stick it in there, move it out, cut some more, and just keep doing that. But like I said, I think it's gonna come down to slicing this open and making it fit that way. Okay, I'll be back. Yeah, so this back here is 7.5 inches from here to here, right? Well, look at the factory one. Factory one is just a couple inches, right? So now you measure to the frame. I believe the wheel well, we cut it right off here, the inner, and right to the frame. It's like 5.5. So it to fit that on there, it would have to go 2 inches into that frame. So yeah, it looks like we're gonna have to cut this down, take a couple inches out of it, and either weld it together or cut them and butt weld it together. So yeah, I think that's probably gonna be the easiest way. Well, it's the only way, unless you do away with the frames. I don't know why they made this, you know, made it like that. But anyway, let me get to cutting, like I said, around that frame there. And I guess I'm gonna go ahead and cut the whole lip off, and then I'm gonna have to weld wherever that lip meets the floor and stuff. I'm gonna weld it all in solid and grind it and make it all flush, all like that, down to about here somewhere where we have to go into here. So yeah, let me do all that, and I'll be back. Okay guys, this is the little shock tower that went there. So cut that out, and then this went there, so I cut that out. So what's going to happen is it's going to be flush here. That one light keeps going from high to low. But I don't want to cut this out flush, because as you can see, there's 3 pieces of metal in there. So basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to weld up. I can probably bang that in with a hammer, get it closer. I'm going to weld all that up solid and grind it smooth. So the wheel well is going to be welded onto here and into here, because here, you know, we still got the lip there. Down here we're not sure yet exactly what we're gonna do, but yeah. And then where the frame meets the floor there, we're gonna put some welds in there and grind that smooth. So basically, I think people have the idea that they got to conform that to fit this, and we're doing it the opposite. We're going to conform this to fit this, what we want. I guess they do it the first way because they want to get that full 6-inch wider tire in there. That's why you got to notch the frame and all that. Well, we don't really care about any of that stuff. This thing fits pretty wide tires on it anyway. These things here fit pretty good, possibly because the Blazer, what was the Blazer one? 1 inch wider anyway. So we don't care much about that. We'll gain a couple inches if fit a wider tire than that on there, but we're mainly concerned about, although not this side was bad, you can see the other side, all the rust there. That's what we were mainly concerned about. And I figured it'd, you know, be just as easy to put in a wider wheel well mini tub instead of a factory one, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. It's just not going to fit in there perfect. Okay, so yeah, and plus I think this would be too wide anyway. From that, it bugs on me. That wide to here is going to be a little bit too long, about 1 inch too long, so it'll fit here perfect. So I think it'll fit up to here, but this here, basically half of it's going to have to be cut and moved in a couple inches. This whole back half here, you have to cut that down and move it in, and then make it look real nice. So anyway, that's what I got so far. I said I think it'll fit flush here and here. We can weld it there, and then what we'll probably do is either from this side or underneath here. Well, no, it can't be underneath. We'll have to do it from the inside. We're just gonna have to weld along here. Instead of putting a tab or whatever, we'll be welded solid here and here, but here we'll just weld a feet along there and grind her down, and she'll have some seam sealer around it. But right now we got to figure out what we got to do about this area here, and then we got to slice this up and fit that in there, see how good it fits. Okay, I'll be back. Okay guys, got cut this out of there. So from what I can figure, from here to here is about 7 inches. It's not exact, 'cause it's hard to get an exact measurement from the bottom of this to this. So I'm just guessing. We're just have to keep kind of fitting it and stuff. But I know we're not going to be altering this. That's where it's going to weld to. So and that's 7.2. So it's going to be very close for most of this fitting in. But then the problem is coming up in here, and that's, so what I'm thinking is we're going to have to cut this maybe up in here somewhere, cut this section out and move it over a few inches, and then most of this can just stay there. So anyway, I'm fixing to put it on. So this tab here will go up in here all the way around. It'll end here from the structure, but it should, see we don't know exactly where where this goes. That's why it's hard to get a measurement, but it doesn't matter because we're only going to go to this frame. We're not going to go back here halfway through it and section the frame. So anyway, fixing to put it under there, see how it fits. And we'll have to, I'd like to put a tab on this so we can weld it really solid around there. But anyway, well, we're just trying to fit it for now, so I'll be back. Okay guys, I cut this section out here, right there. So it fits in there pretty good, although this is kind of flimsy. I don't know exactly where that's supposed to fit to here. If I was to guess, I'd say right there, but we got to be perfect. I got the quarter panel inside, but that quarter panel's got to be perfect to line up with the outer wheel well. So so it looks like it's this will flex, see, and we can weld that to this. See, we're gonna have to weld it to this first. Well, not first. We got to weld this to the outer one and weld them both together, then put it up in there, drill some holes here and weld it in. And once that's welded in, then we can force this to go over and hit that. See, if you push that and weld that, it's going to come apart from here, but it will flex enough to put some self tappers in there, some holes in there, and weld it to that. The only problem I see with this, it goes in like that. It's got I do everything with one hand. It's gonna have this hole right there, so we're gonna have to do a patch right there. Okay, so I think the best thing to do right now is to fit the outer one in and basically get it ready to weld. We're gonna weld it into the existing part here. We got this one hole here to line it up with, but we don't know where the 3 holes are. You know, there's these holes here. We don't know where the other 2 are. Well, we know where they are on the new stuff, but on the old stuff there, we can guess it's in here somewhere and right in here. But it'd be nice to line that up with the old stuff. You know, we know for sure. Like I said, there's no room for error. So that quarter panel's got to mount to it. So anyway, let me fit the outer one, and we may have to do a little trimming here. Like I said, I'm gonna weld it to the existing part of it here, just like this one here. We can pull this out. Well, it's just a little bit tight right there. See, I left this in here, and I'm gonna weld them both to there. The inner one goes from here, and the outer one's here. So anyway, let me make sure the outer one fits, and then I think we're gonna weld them 2 together, and then fit it up in there, and see where we're at from there. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, guys, just had to notch it in here a little bit, but yeah, we can get that hole there lined up. Get the flashlight here so you can see. we'll get that hole lined up there, and then it just goes around, the lip goes around here. Just have to come up like that a little bit, but yeah. So I think the next thing is to weld these two together. Get that there. We'll line up them holes and weld it solid together. That way it gives this enough strength so it's not going like this, and we'll like I said, we need it perfect. So we'll weld them together and then we'll fit it up in there and see what happens. And then we'll have to start drilling holes. So I'm going to be welding it to this. We got to drill a bunch of holes there, bunch of holes here, bunch of holes there, and we may leave this. You can see this can still flex. So we don't know exactly where that goes until the quarter panel. See how it's moving? The quarter panel welds onto there. So we'll leave that loose. Then we'll have to drill some holes, either in this or the wheel well later on, and weld that on there. But we can get this here pretty close. And then we just got to worry about this back piece. So I think that's the plan for now. I still got to weld up. I'm going to weld up all this stuff here, like I said before, and then weld them two together solid, and then we'll go from there. And I'll be back. So, and we can't weld that in right yet. We got to fit it in there real good. And then we got to figure out how to put that little piece where that's got to go, and then weld that back to this in a different position. Okay, so I'll be back. Okay guys, got all the holes drilled. Start off with an 1/8 drill bit. I don't know if I mentioned this. This is the next day, so bought the step drill set for like 10 bucks off eBay. Drill that into the 1/8, drill them out a little bit, ground it all down, the edges, ground all this down. So we're going to weld that onto there. Gonna get 3 vice grips, make sure the holes line up. Then we're gonna weld around there, grind it down. I'm gonna prime everything. Got weld through primer here. I just bought 2 more cans. This stuff works pretty good for being cheap stuff. Welds right through, no problem. Some of that weld through primer stuff is hit and miss. Some of it's hard to weld through, but that's pretty good. So that's what we'll do. And then that'll strengthen everything up a little bit. And then, like I said, we'll fit it in there. Figure out where it's going to line up here. It rained a little bit last night. But yeah, here's my cheap Harbor Freight flux core welder. I need to weld all this up, grind all that down. Probably put a little bit of welds in here. So yeah, we'll have to drill some holes in the new wheel wells where it bolts it, or it welds in there. Like I said, we'll weld all that in except for this. But we're gonna fit it in there and then get that piece. This piece here, after after it's welded in and everything, we'll set it up in there underneath this lip, and then we'll just drill some, well, unless I can get some clamps or self-tappers, and set it in there. And then we'll get this piece, fit that on there, put some self-tappers, and screw that to this, then bring it back off and cut that up to flush weld it all around the edges there and grind it all smooth so it looks like it's never been cut, the back and the front. And it'll take a little bit of work, but so that's the plan, the next stages. Okay, I'll be back. Okay guys, next day. Like, it was so hot and humid yesterday during the day that I come out here at night, just get rolling, working for about an hour or so, and then it starts raining. Big ass thunderstorm came in, lasted all night. I mean, everything's just soaking wet. So anyway, pushed everything into the garage here, and then back at it this morning. So got pretty much all this welded up solid here. Like I said, we're gonna weld it to there and build some type of tab. This damn wheel well. You know, we lined up these 3 holes here, but I, you know, not with clamps or nothing, just kind of set it on there. One side, I think it was this side here. So I lined up them 2 holes, and this all lined up flush, but this side was way off. It was all bowed out. It was like, what the hell? And then it had a sticker. Let me see. I'm gonna forget now, but it had stickers on both of them, but one of them just said 69 Camaro. So I looked it up on the auction thing, and these wheel wells were advertised as 67, 68, the outer ones, that the part that welds onto the quarter panel. And then these mini tub ones were listed as 67 to 69 in the auction, but it had a 69 sticker on it. So I don't know if they're different or what, but yeah, they did not, and they weren't from the same company. Like I said, they did not line up worth a damn. So let's hope that it lines up. So anyway, I'm fixing to put it in there, and I probably mentioned before in the last clip, we're just gonna hook it in behind here. I guess I'll try to clamp it right in here, maybe, and in here, just to get it so we know where to drill the holes and all that, and see if we have to do any more cutting. Also, I didn't realize how rusted all this top was. I knew this was rusted through there, but I didn't realize it was all rusted under here. Yeah, we're just gonna have to do that later, but I was gonna put some pour 15 and stuff up in here maybe, but you know, all this area here before I put the wheel well on. But I think I can get at it with the wheel well on it. I just want to get this wheel well on and at least get this video done. It's taken a while. Yeah, people probably say, oh, you should have it in your garage. Yeah, well, I don't want to tie up the garage space there. You know, I just did the 78 hot rod Nova, had to pull that in there and do paint the hood, and saving that for little jobs and keeping this outside. But this damn rain, man, it's got to be a record. Just raining off and on, you know, during the day, during the night. It's crazy. Never seen that before. Okay, so yeah, let me see if I can line that up, and I'll be back. Hey guys, it fought me a little bit, but like I said, most we can do is line up this hole here. I had to cut some in there to get them both in there, but you know, this in this side and that in that side. I clamped it there, but we don't know. It's pretty close, you know, just by guessing. But you can see where these holes here are. Look at the other side. The other side's up a couple inches. Although they're probably different than factory, but anyway, she's need to put some self-tappers from here into here to tighten that up, and we can do that up here too onto this whole piece, and then we'll see how we're gonna have to build a little tab around here to weld this to this, but that'll be the last, because we, like I said, we'll draw in the we got to take it back off and drill holes there to weld it, and then we'll put in some self-tappers and draw that in real good into there, and then draw it in. See, this will flex, so we'll draw it out, drill a bunch of holes here and draw that in, and then we'll worry about the little tab down there. And same with this thing, where, see, this can, see, is it supposed to be there or there? There or there? We don't know. I was hoping it wouldn't flex that much, but see, there or there? Or there? Shit. Anyway, what I gotta do is get that piece, this piece here, and fit it in there and mark it where we need to cut it and weld that. But we need, it's right about on the line of that. It should be right here. Yeah, that's about right there. If that line, yeah, it probably goes right there, but we don't know for sure. We can drill a couple of self-tappers and put the quarter panel on lightly, just kind of, the overlaps over here, put it on there and make sure it's pretty damn close. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's got this whole tab here to weld onto, right? Yeah, it's got this whole big old tab to weld on, so it can be a 1/4 inch off or something. So it doesn't have to be, you know, perfect, but yeah, I guess we'll just have to go by where this lines up to the floor compared to the other side. That's why you just do one side at a time, kind of like doing a brake job. And then we're just gonna have to leave it like that. But what I'll do is I'll put some self-tappers in, because we know that's right there. Take that clamp off and put the quarter panel on and make sure it's not, you know, an inch off or something. So that's what I'm going to do now, and then we'll get that piece and set it in there, mark it where we need to cut it, and then what we'll do is we'll weld it to this. Well, we'll put a bunch of self-tappers in there, and then take it off, weld that to that, and then this here, we gotta weld that up there. I cut that tab off there because I was trying to get it to fit in here. So weld that up, weld that in, smooth it all out real nice, and then we'll fit it, and then I'll mark out where we need to drill all them holes, and I'll do all that. Yeah, so I'll be back when I get that done. Okay guys, I just got this quarter panel sitting on there. I didn't want to screw it on or nothing, so it's pretty close. So yeah, you can see this lip just needs to slide over there. It looks pretty good. It looks real good. So I think we're in the right spot. Except, you know, we don't know how far exactly that's supposed to be in at the bottom. And without that tail panel, I can't remember if maybe the tail panel, remember one of them butts up to the tail panel. Okay, camera just clicked off. But anyway, I think we're pretty close. I think that's what we're gonna do is, although, yeah, well, it still needs to come in more. Yeah, I think we're just gonna leave that at that spot there, and then try to fit that other piece on there. I put in a self tapper here to hold it, and then put another one up here to hold it. So it actually tightened it up to here. And I think once we get a self tapper from there into here, that'll draw this up. So we're gonna be pretty flush against there. Okay. Yeah, let me just take this off here. Like I said, I just got it sitting on there. Yeah, got a self tapper up into here. So anyway, I'm gonna take it off, drill a bunch of holes there, all in here. I kind of marked them in little circles. And well, first we need that little piece there. Like I said, we'll fit that in and mark that. Take it off, weld that in there. Drill all them holes, get it ready to weld, then test fit it again. And then if everything's good, prime it up and weld it. Okay, I'll be back. Okay guys, there's that sticker that was on the mini tub. See, it just says 69 left hand, although the auction said 67 to 69. So I don't know if there's a little difference between, because a lot of these parts were like 67, 68, and 69's different in some respects. I know the quarter panels and stuff are, but I don't know about, you know, all this other inner stuff. But anyway, I just thought I'd show you that because I was under there working and it stuck to my hand. I peeled it off there last night. But anyway, I'm still working on this section here where I tacked it in there flush and I got it clamped. And I'm gonna cut it here, then tack it in, and then this is bent a little bit. We're gonna put a little relief cut there and tack it all in. Then we'll take it off and weld it up and grind it good and everything, make it look good. But yeah, put a relief cut up here. Like I said, these two wouldn't fit together very good. Oh, and I put some more self tappers in here, so that drawed it up there and then into here. So yeah, that's all flush now. And I guess I measured that pretty damn close to get that perfect like that. But anyway, I'll be back. Hey Nikki, how you doing, girl? I'll just, every time I use the air blower to blow off stuff, she goes nuts, thinks it's time to go inside. That and closing the garage door. So, but anyway, okay, how good we can see here. This is the little patch here I put in. Welded it all, ground it all down. That's the inside of it. Yeah, then these are all the holes that it's going to be welded to the rocker there, and that top brace, and then the frame right in here and in here. The frame right in there. So it fits pretty good, other than this needs to be rounded here. So once it's in there, I should have done it while I had it self-tapered in there. We'll make a little pattern and make a little piece of metal for there and weld it in. But anyway, I got the self-tapper screw hole still in there, and we're just going to line it up. One there, and one there, and one there. I'll put some weld-through primer on all these areas first. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, guys, I got her all in there, ready to weld. Okay, I'll weld it all in here. I'll probably weld it around in here, and then all these holes here. And of course over here and up there. Yeah, this was rubbing on the ground, on the ground there, so I put a little primer on it. It was bare metal. I don't think it's going to rain tonight, but 30 to 60% chance every day for the next week. Just rain won't stop. And I'm going to weld in these holes here, and then in here as well. I put some self-tappers in there to draw it closer. I weld some in here too. I'm just going to weld the shit out of it. And then this is the area here. I'll have to make a little deal right there. Cover that up. Yeah, I'll get that a little bit closer too. Yeah, that's just right up in there. Okay, well, let me get to welding, and I'll be back. But yeah, that's it there. So fixing to be permanent. So you can see the extra length there for the wheel well. Okay, I'll be back. Okay guys, next morning. Okay, what I did last night is I made a little deal there, welded that in. I kind of tacked that in there, but it's welded on the other side. I just put a little extra on there, but anyway, what we got to do is, this is the bracket for, you can see that, yeah, that's all. Anyway, we don't know how that's gonna fit. Let's see here. We'll make that fit. Cut that apart. Drill some holes. Weld that into there. Weld it onto there. Yeah, this is kind of weak up here. I'm gonna have to see if they sell that bottom piece. This top piece seems to be okay, but I know they make this top piece, but I don't know about this area and the underneath metal. Anyway, I still haven't checked. I know there is a company that makes this channel. At least they did for Nova. but they're not on eBay or nothing, so I'm gonna have to look for that. And I know this package tray is kind of messed up too, but I don't know if I want to replace all that or just patch it. Okay, so yeah, it's the only thing that hasn't welded up is this here. Like I said, we don't know exactly where that's going to go, but this would weld right in here to this. Okay, so it's all welded all in here, ground down, welded all in here. Oh, I forgot to put some primer on there. Welded all up there. Put some extra welds around here, there. Some extra welds in here. I drilled some holes and welded all that, but I put some extra ones around the side and back here. And then the only place I gotta weld up is we'll put some extra welds in here and then down this edge here. And it looks like we'll have to make a little tab thing there. And I put some extra welds there as well. So yeah, let me button up all this. Oh, then we'll have to do something with this. Oh, that's still got the door panel thing there. Anyway, I got that piece. Or did I leave it on the... Oh, I left it on there. Probably had to take that off and weld it on there. Yeah, that's where I cut it off. Right there. I bent this up to get this to fit. So I have to cut that off a little bit and get that the other piece welded in there. So yeah, I got a bunch of things to finish up on here. Yeah, I sprayed some black paint over there. I want to put some 415 up in here, like I said. But I was trying to get everything ready for that 415. We wanted to put some up in here, and all that. But it's pretty damn strong, so just need to button up all that little stuff I just showed you. We'll put some 415 all in here too while we're at it. Okay, well, I'll be back. Okay guys, here's a bracket I cut out the old wheel well. You know, that originally went welded here, there, and then this tab would have went down there. But of course, widen the wheel well. You can see the difference, how wide it is there compared to that little skinny. Or this. Yeah, compared to this. Or hang on, did it go the other way? Yeah, went like that. See, and that tab was right there. So it's not going to fit that way anymore. So we're just going to cut it. We're going to fit that back in there and just cut it right down here. It matches this. Just weld it in. You have to cut this little tab off here. And obviously the bottom of that. And that's what we'll do. We'll weld her in here, across there and across there, and that's it. Okay, I'll be back. Hey, Nikki. We're not going in yet. I was just using the air blower to blow the stuff off. Okay, so I got this welded in. I know it doesn't look worth a shit, but It's kind of hard to do. Putting something on where it wasn't before. It's just a whole different angle and everything. But that's the way it is, kind of like this. If you look at this side here, see the angle? But I mean, where it mount, this is all different now. So, okay, put a little Bondo on this side here, so I'm gonna sand that. I'm gonna grind this down a little bit. See, I'm not gonna be able to grind it real good. And that. So, what I'm gonna do is sand down the Bondo, primer it, and then we're gonna put some seam sealer all the way around these edges here. And I'll probably just do one coat and let it dry, and like tomorrow do the other coat, just to fill in all this stuff here, make it look decent. Okay, got this little bracket here cut and welded in, so it's pretty strong. I'm not gonna bother grinding that or nothing, nobody's gonna see it. And then weld it all down here and just put a little piece of metal there. Same thing, I'm not gonna grind it or nothing, but we will put some seam sealer around there for the little pinholes and everything. And then this area here, I was going to 415 it, and this area. But then I thought, well, shit, I got the top of that to do. I got this to do. I open up a can, I might as well use it. And then that whole other side too. But then again, it keeps raining. No rain today, but 60% chance tomorrow and 30% after that. So I might use a quarter can and do some of this 415. I'm back here too. But yeah, I put a little bit of Bondo up in here. Fill in some of the little areas. But again, I'm just gonna scuff that down, and then I should have maybe made a piece of metal to cover this up as well. And I'm thinking I'll just put some seam sealer in there. As I put that one little piece of metal right there. Yeah, I should have put a piece of metal from here up. But anyway, we got a little Bondo up there. And then these areas here, I'm just gonna put seam sealer in it. Okay, I'll be back. Okay guys, put a little seam sealer around the edges of the welds and everything. Rest of that black is some 415. I still need to put some primer. Yeah, I reached up here as far as I could. I'll get it a little bit better. It's getting kind of dark, and I feel like standing there with a flashlight trying to get every little spot. And I poured $15 in here, seam sealed around all them edges. Again, little black paint up there. I'll paint all this wheel well all regular black paint instead of 415. You usually just put 415 over the rust. So anyway, got quite a bit done on it. Okay, I wanted to show you a product that a sponsor sent me. Now, you see, this is the gas tank I put in. I closed it off so no shit gets in there. But this is the factory line. All rusty clamp. And anyway, it goes along the frame rail. You can see part of it here. And it's just rusty and just crappy. Anyway, that goes along. I don't know how far you can see up there, but it'll go all the way up to the front of the engine. And then you have a rubber hose to the carburetor. So Evil Energy in an email wanted me to pick out a product, and they recommended this rubber fuel line. So I looked at all their stuff, and I said, yeah, go ahead and send me the fuel line. Now, they make mostly stuff for like LS swaps and stuff. So this is thick braided fuel line. See, it's not just cheap rubber. I know, because you're not supposed to just use cheap rubber line all the way and replace your steel line with it. So if this fits, we're going to and they give you all these fittings, so not sure what we're going to do with all that, because I'm not ready for the fuel line yet. I'll be ready for it once I get the floors welded in. So they give me all that. And then they sent me this other stuff. Not exactly sure what these are. And then a wrench for them fittings. I forget what they're called now. ON fittings or whatever they're called, AN fittings. And they sent me a hat. This, I didn't ask for this, and I don't need it. It's an oil catch can. Like I said, they're into high performance stuff and everything. So this is if you're running a oil cooler, I guess. No, oil catch can, that's for a turbo. So yeah, they got all that stuff to hook up turbos and all that stuff. They give me instructions here. One of these days I'd like to get into doing a build with a turbo on it. That's kind of was my plans for the Nomad wagon. So I did the you got something in my because it is an LS swap. So the original thing was just put the LS motor in there, get it all running and driving, which it does. Runs and drives great. Drove it Hot Rod Power Tour a couple years ago. But it's got a miss in it. It's internal. It's in a valve or something. And yeah, I'm not going to try to fix it. So one of these days I'm going to, if I come across another LS engine to put in it, low mileage, and what I'll do is put, because my only regret is I should have bought the aftermarket oil pan to so it doesn't. I use the original truck oil pan, which is too low, but I haven't smashed it or anything yet. Drove it, all across country and back. But just to be on the safe side, I'd like to get the shorter oil pan. So that's the plans in the future for that. And then once that's done, and then of course do the wiring a lot better. I just hooked up all the wiring from the truck that the motor came out of, and I got way too much wiring and stuff I don't really need, but at least everything works. They even use the gauges from the truck, which people that do LS swaps, they ain't got no speedometer, they ain't got no gauges, they ain't got nothing. But I got everything. But I got a whole mess of wiring that don't know where most of it goes, and don't need it. So I'll probably button that up. So anyway, to get to the point, if I get all that done, and then make sure all that's good, then I'll start with extra stuff like maybe a turbo, because the plan was to make it good, dependable driver, everything works, and then hot rod it and then bring it to like drag and drive events. Not trying to make it the fastest car there or nothing. And it'll probably be in the bracket racing, which is just consistent runs. So yeah, in the future I may get a turbo. Anyway, you can check out Evil Energy, because they got a lot of that stuff. And all the stuff to connect, all that. So anyway, I'll just give them a shout out. Check out the in the description. I'll put a link and everything to this stuff, but just check them out if you need any of this other stuff. Okay, and later video, like I said, we'll hook that up eventually. I'll give them another shout out. Okay, I'll be back. Okay guys, I decided to weld a piece of metal over top that area there. So I'm just going to put a little bit of body fill in there and smooth that out a little bit. And then we're going to prime and paint all this black. I just wanted it to look better than it was. Okay, I'll be back. Okay guys, it's a late night. Okay, I got all that primed and painted black. I think that looks a lot better than before. Okay, painted all this black, primed, and let me get this light in here. Nah, that's not gonna work. Okay. Primed and painted all this, half of it. So this is kind of like a before and after. You see all the, we got to do all that next video. I have no idea how long this is, but I'm guessing pretty long. Some people say, oh, why don't you show the work? Well, shit, if I showed doing work, the video would be twice as long. Or a little bit of the work. Shit, this is, I don't know, 4 or 5 days of on and off on this. But anyway, it's done. I'm just trying to find my little flashlight. Anyway, probably can't see too good, but yeah, it's a lot wider, and it's done. All good pieces in there. All the rotten pieces are thrown in the scrap pile. So yeah, this is pretty much done, other than just wherever this lines up to the quarter panel, and we'll weld that onto there. But other than that, that's it. She's welded in there solid. So yeah, I wanted to do both in one video, but it takes so long, guys. We'll do the next video, and we'll throw something else in there too. See if we can get some more work done or something, because but whatever, it'll go a lot faster. It won't be like this video. We're showing, we already know how what needs to be done to make it work, so I won't show a lot of doing this side. I'll just show the basic stuff there as I go along. But this one was kind of like trial and error, and a lot of screwing around, making it work. But it should work. Okay, well, subscribe if you haven't, because we're just getting rolling on this, and got a long ways to go. Mortsky posted a nice 67. It was one of his subscribers' cars, and he was just doing some stuff to get it. Been sitting up for a while, changing the maintenance stuff. But man, that was nice. Nice color on that. But yeah, this is factory black. Don't get too many factory black cars, so it's got to go black. But other stuff's up in the air, stripes and interior stuff like that. So, but anyway, yeah, subscribe, like, comment, share. It's supposed to help the algorithms. I got my email and P.O. box and stuff in the auction description. If anybody wants to donate any stuff. Like I said, I got most of the body panels, but I bought nothing for the interior, and mechanically of it, nothing. So if anybody wants to donate, I know I always get a few people donate stuff, but Could always use supplies. And people sent me Bondo and Dynaglass. I just bought some primer. I loaded up on a bunch of stuff there, primer and just stuff. But I could always use body materials, stuff like that. Yeah, okay, well, I guess that's about it. I said, well, next video we'll get the other side done and something else, hopefully. And then we'll save the video after that for putting on the quarters and the tail panel. It should be pretty quick just to get them lined up and tacked in there to where they're supposed to be. It should be pretty quick doing that. Of course, it'll take a while to weld it all complete and do the body work and slick it out, but just to get it lined up and tacked in there, it should be, we can do that all in one video, so that should be a good one. Okay, well, thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you next video.